Effectors! Welcome back to another episode of the Mass Effect Lorecast. I'm your girl Jennasis, and I am here tonight with our lovely, amazing patrons. Our N7 the Legend operative has decided to take the night off due to a new addition. A new hand has touched the beacon and is here. So he's taking a very much needed time spent with his wife and new baby. We're so excited for him. Oh, okay. So I'm here tonight and I am joined by some of our patrons. We have Scott, Yukon, and Retropot. Hello, guys.
How's it going?
Hey.
Hi. All right. So when we had a couple of different topics floating around, ideas for what we were going to talk about today, but somebody put in the Discord a very, very timely topic. Yukon, it was you that suggested, in honor of the new edition, which Mass Effect character would make the best babysitter? Oh, this is great. There are a few that I absolutely would leave a child with within the Mass Effect universe, and definitely some that babies are not allowed around at all. No, thank you. So let's go around. Does anybody have one right out the gate that they want to go with?
Yeah, I got one.
All right, Retro, go for it.
I was going to say Eve from Mass Effect 3.
Oh, okay. Lady Bakara, Eve. So why Eve?
Well, I just think she understands the importance of a child just because of how her race has been treated. So she'd understand the importance of basically this child and how to raise it right and how to make sure to take care of it just because of how precious it is.
Aw, that's really sweet. I think Eve would be that's like the one thing in life that she wants is to become a mother and to be able, to have that. And so she would absolutely protect your child, play with the baby, do all the things. The only problem I could see, though, do you want your baby to learn how to fire a pistol? Because I'm pretty sure the baby would know how to hold a firearm by the end of the night.
I mean, in space, that could be an important skill. You never know when Batarian raiders could show up, so yeah.
Fair enough. Oh. I'm just now picturing like a baby holding that shotgun, and that's a funny image in my head. Oh. What about you guys? You guys have thoughts on this? Scott?
I mean, it's funny because I can see her like the image I think of is like the mama bear stereotype. Like, don't make me go mama bear, right? So like that would be Eve. Like she's very nice until she's not. So, but I think she'd be awesome.
Nurturing and a disciplinarian at the same time. Perfect combo, right?
Yeah. Well, and we know the Krogan. Like if you're in Andromeda, oh man, now I just forgot his name, but he teaches you about the little game they play with flamethrowers, like with their kids.
Talking about
So
drafts, right?
yeah, Drac talks about the flamethrower game that they play with their kids. So I mean, like clearly, yes, there'd be some violence, but she's going to take good care of that kid.
I feel like if you reminded Eve that human babies are much squishier than Krogan babies, she would be safe. But yeah. Magister, welcome in. I'm glad that your power situation got resolved. Oh my.
It came in, it hit at the right time, I guess. It was just like, dude, I was like, oh, you can't be serious. But, Krogan's, Eve, I think if we're talking about not just young toddlers, but Sending a teenager to the Krogans seems like a great idea. Like whether they be in their rebellious phase or if you need to do the as they call it, scare them, scare them straight or whatever else.
Mhm.
It's just like, okay, well, you think we got it bad here? I'm gonna take you down to the Krogans, and you're gonna have a great time down there. So you're gonna figure that one out, and even make sure it doesn't get too crazy.
My brain was totally in baby mode. I didn't even think about a rebellious teenager being sent to Chichanka. That's a great one. All right. Who's up next? Who has an idea of who they would have babysitting?
I think I like giving this a little bit of thought. I kept coming back to Edie.
Ooh.
Just for the simple, like tried to put myself in Sam's shoes, right? As a first-time parent, what's something that all first-time parents try to accumulate before the baby's born? Different baby books, right? Maybe nowadays, without information available online, baby books aren't the thing anymore. But I just remember, like, you try to stockpile as many baby books as you can so you can learn as much stuff as you can, even though none of it actually pans out when it comes to being a parent. You just turn on survival mode and everybody tries to figure out what they're doing. But Edie and her constant instantaneous access to information would have an answer for any sort of situation that she would find herself in as a babysitter. It's just a one-stop shop for all of the information that a first-time parent might need access to.
What to expect when you're expecting helped a little bit, but especially for like being the pregnant one, of what to expect while expecting. But then everything beyond that, you're on your own game. Like, you cannot do that.
Take up as you go along.
Exactly. But I think Edie would be a really, really great option with that data bank of knowledge, with being able to tap into it. And especially if we're talking about like the self-actualized Edie towards the end of the game, I would not trust I'm only living inside of a console ME2 Edie to do anything.
Yes, definitely unshackled Edie for sure.
Unshackled Edie that has a body, because diapers need to be changed and you
Correct.
can't do that without arms. What about the fact that she doesn't have skin? Do you think that would be a deterrent to a child?
I don't think necessarily a deterrent, right? Because anybody with children knows that for the first month or so that your babies are born, especially, a fair amount of that time is swaddled. I would imagine there's not much skin-to-skin time with a babysitter. So I don't think that not having organic flesh would be a big problem for a baby that at that age probably doesn't know much else.
Okay. Fair points. Anybody else got thoughts on Edie? Would Edie make a good babysitter?
Might be showing my age here, but when I think of Edie watching child, I just think of Smart House from Disney Channel, where the child's just like crawling around, and then Edie's just this voice just talking about follow this light to this corridor. And I mean, at least like if you're just having a child on the ship, even if Edie is in her body or out of her body, you literally have that child's not gonna get lost. Edie will always know where that kid is. So,
Yeah. If the child is on the Normandy, Edie would be better equipped to take care of it. I could see that.
It's a very expensive baby monitor.
But she'd be able to track vital signs too. And like, that's something as a new parent, you're like, is he breathing okay? How's the heart rate doing? What are we doing? Is that a temperature? Is that a fever? Yeah, no, I could see that. Being able to track vitals would be good. Retro or Scott, you got thoughts on Edie? All right. I'm not seeing anything, so we will move it along. Who's up next? Who has an idea? Scott?
Yeah, I think I would trust leaving my kid with Caden. So I think about his time on point zero or whatever they call his biotic academy and like how he understands like social emotional needs of kids. Um, and then I also just think about he's just like the most wholesome dude, like all around, and he deals with like headaches and things, so he's used to the joy that are children and how they can bring headaches upon you. So I would think he'd be like, okay, a headache, I can handle this. I'm good to go. He seems very even keeled. Um, but I also think like I know he can cook a little bit at least. And he I think similar to Eve, like I know that if something happens, Caden's gonna be able to handle it in terms of like protecting the kids. So I'm thinking Caden would be good for babysitting.
Oh, yes, I fully agree. I absolutely adore Caden. If that it hasn't been established enough already, and I fully agree with that. Like he can cook, and he would know how to take care of a human baby. If that's the child that we are talking about, I assume that at some point he has been around human babies. Uh, if not trying to make one with my shepherd. That's a different story. So I think that Caden would be a really good option. Um, I remember talking to Tom and Sam about how Caden could just throw a biotic bubble around a baby and they would be forever safe within the biotic bubble. So that would be interesting.
I think
Anyway,
also, if I'm remembering correctly, somewhere along the line of your conversations with Caden, he references uh, how his like wants and desires have changed, and starting a family had been something that had come to the forefront, unless I'm misremembering. Where initially in Mass Effect 1, he's, you know, all soldier, no family. I think somewhere along the line that changed. So that obviously opens up a lot into his, you know, ability, to be a caretaker.
yes. ME1 Caden is definitely a little bit more rigid when it comes to I'm in the military. ME3 Caden, once he gets promoted to Spectre status and everything like that, and has his relationship with only a femship. I don't believe that he talks about so much as starting a family with broshep, but with the femship conversation, there is talk about settling down and starting a family. Brosheps can have babies too. It's called adoption. There's a million Krogan babies running around that will need fathers. No, as for a human baby, I think Caden would be a good choice. Retro, Magister, do either of you have thoughts on Caden?
I just think he'd be great for our entertainment. Kids would be like, what we're gonna do now? Just like, okay, hop on this table real quick, lift. The fun never ends.
You know what? Not having okay, so nowadays a lot of the rockers are motorized and automatic, but back when like my little brother and sister when they were babies, it was a hand crank one, or you had to push the baby in the swing in order to keep the swing going. Okay, Caden would be able just to do that with his thoughts of being able to push and pull with his biotics to swing the swing. Oh, and then pushing that even further, having it being like a 12-year-old on a swing set, that kid is going to be able to go around and around in circles, and that would be amazingly fun.
That's like the clip that went around maybe a year or two ago of the dad that had the rope tied to the swing, and he was sitting in a rocking chair in the backyard rocking back and forth, and every time he would rock back, the string would pull the kid's swing, so the dad was able to rock in a rocking chair and it would pull the swing at the same time. It's
Nice.
like a 2.0 version of that if you have biotics, right?
Yep. Agreed. Okay. Magister, I believe you're the only one left, right?
I think so. My option for who would be a great babysitter would be none other than Mordin Solus, because I feel like our Solarian friend would have a ball with your children. Like I'm just picturing like Bill Nye the Science Guy level experiments being ran at the household, and him getting excited about teaching the kids about all the different type of sciences that are going out there, and not just the sciences. If you have kids who are more into the arts, he is the very model of a um, oh Lord, I forget the words, but he enjoys a good theatrical production as well. So I think a Morden Solus would be great to have around as babysitter. And not only that, he's also medically trained. So any scraped knees or anything like that happen, take out that med gel and good to go.
Oh, Morden, it would definitely be a certain kid that would be able to go with Morden's high energy status. So I feel like it would have to be a high energy kid, because I feel like my daughter is very like shy and introverted, and so I feel like Morden would just be like, "You are too much for me, sir. No, please, no." But yeah, a high energy kid who Bill Nyeing it up. I like it. I like that a lot.
I think he has the
Imagine,
soft energy for kids, more quiet kids too. Like the what he treated Eve and everything like that. I think he definitely would be able to approach the more calm, lower energy type situations as well. He's very adaptable.
Ooh, that is a fair and valid point. I'm also remembering now the tapes that we get in the Citadel DLC where he had a children's show. It went horribly. It went really, really bad. But he knows how to work with kids. So there's that. Yukon, did you have something to say?
I was just gonna say, imagine the baking soda volcano that Morden would be able to create in the kitchen.
Oh, that's next level. He would totally be the one to put the Mentos in the Diet Coke.
For sure. While also recreating the disaster at Pompeii
Yes.
with painstaking detail.
Oh. Anybody else have thoughts on Morden? If he would make a good babysitter or not?
He would be the best babysitter for a beach day.
Oh, why you gotta go and break my heart like that?
Dude, what do kids love to do at the beach? Find seashells, man. So
Sad now. Okay. But yes, I also feel like he would have the structural engineering background in order to build the most epic of all epic sandcastles. Yeah, there's some math that has to go into that, and he would be able to do that quickly.
This might be the runaway best answer of the night so far, by the way.
Yeah. Right? Okay. So, for me, the one that I had in my mind was Samara, because she is fiercely loyal to her daughters, very, very protective, but also knows how to fight, would be able to protect my baby in no matter what situation, knows that humans are squishy, and still has enough, has skin, human-esque skin, so that way the baby wasn't uncomfortable or anything like that. So yeah, the first babysitter I thought of was Samara.
How much wiggle room is there in the Justicar code for misbehaving children?
I was literally thinking that. I was like, your child breaks one rule and it's just like, well, pre Mass Effect 3, Samara would be like, well, you gotta go.
Okay, so, but if I have entered into a contract with Samara in order to take care of and protect my child, then she can't hurt him based off of the code. Like, because that's what what happens with a renegade shepherd. You can piss her off, but she's not going to do anything until the contract is done. And then she just doesn't like you anymore. But since you did the great deed of saving the galaxy, you're forgiven.
Touche.
But I do feel like she'd be very quick on the discipline. Like, it'd be like, oh, you did this, you're in timeout. Oh, you did this, you lose this privilege. Like, I think it would be much more like, it wouldn't be like, don't make me count to 3. Like, I don't think there'd be that lag. I think she'd be like, discipline.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Samara would be a little heavy on the disciplinary actions. I don't know how to combat that one. I need them to actually put out all 742 rules in the code, so that way I can know where the loopholes would be. So
How that hasn't leaked on the extranet, I have no idea.
Right? It should be out there somewhere. Maybe I'll start writing my own and make a fanfic of the Justicar code. I'm going to put that on the list. All right, and while I go and update the list, I am also going to take us into our mid-break. So stick around for after that, so that way you can find out who the worst options for a babysitter would be. Insert sound effects here because I didn't have them downloaded in time. Right? I need the Reaper sound, and I need the other ones that we play. Sam and I, the Kaidan sounds. Yes, I need my Kaidan sounds. I actually have that one stored on my personal drive for no reason in particular. But now we are getting into the middle of the show where we talk about the show and not the lore of Mass Effect. I don't have any new reviews to read out. I didn't pick a planet card for this episode, but I'm wondering if you guys want to play the game of Test the Host. That's what Sam and I have called this little quiz in the middle of the show, and I have one that is like insanity level. If anyone gets this, I would be absolutely shocked. So do you guys want to hear it?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, let's see if anybody has ever gotten this dialogue option. And it's not.
Detectors are inconvenient.
I will play it one more time. There's a little bit of an opening to it, and then I'll actually say the lines if you guys can't hear it properly.
Metal detectors are inconvenient.
It is Legion saying metal detectors are inconvenient. It is a rare line that you can get. If you can place if that was Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3, and in what scenario would you have heard metal detectors are inconvenient?
I'm gonna guess it's Mass Effect 3. And does it have to do with the little scanning room they make you go through, like in between like the meeting room and getting to like the main part of the ship?
Oh, okay. I see that. It is not that. Scott, you're muted.
I'm used to Zoom where you can click the headphone. Is it Mass Effect 3, but it's very hard to get him so early, but if you take him to the Quarian fleet, is it like getting onto the Quarian fleet when they're like checking you in? Is that when it is?
That is a great guess, but no.
How about Mass Effect 2 when Thane's taking Legion on Thane's loyalty mission?
Ooh, okay.
Shadowing his son.
I will give you the partial credit on this one, because most of the time, the first time that people are going past the security gates is going to Thane's mission right there. So this is if you get Legion and then you bring him to the Citadel before regaining your Spectre status. Because it's then Legion walking through the security gates. So the first time you walk through the security dude stops you, he scans you and tells you that you're still registered as dead. And then it never happens again. So if you bring Legion through there the next time, nothing pops up. But if you go do a whole bunch of side missions before going to the Citadel, you can bring Legion with you to the Citadel for the first time. And the metal detectors freak out, and he says that they are an inconvenience.
That's incredible.
I don't think I ever done that.
No, the number of times I've played through this game and I've never come across that. That's what's great about this game.
Exactly. So, yeah. Well, I mean, it also then cuts your game time down really, really short, because then once you've picked up Legion, your time is ticking and you're not even a Spectre yet, dude. You're behind the 8 ball if you ever get this line. So, there we go. All right. I think that's all we have for the middle. Well, no, it's not. We have our patrons to shout out. Of course we do, because you guys are amazing. And I thank each and every one of you for joining in, continuing to support the show. You guys are amazing. And our shout outs go to William, Superfly440, Retrobot, Lieutenant Tessino, Kira C, Edboy, and Draco. And of course, our Reaper tier patron, Commander Shrinky Shep. Thank you so, so much. Your indoctrination episodes continue to be our best episodes that we have ever done. I mean, what? Huh? Okay, yeah. Let's get back into it. Okay, we are back. And we're going to flip the script, and we are going to talk about the Mass Effect universe characters that we would never leave a child with for whatever reason. No, you're not holding my baby. Who has one that they can think of right away?
Oh, I got one.
Okay.
So you're talking about Samara for best babysitter. So I got to put up Morinth as worst babysitter. If you decide to get Morinth over Samara in Samara's loyalty mission.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair and valid and very, very truthful. I would not trust Morinth around early any age child. Baby to teenager. No thank you. Morinth can stay away from them.
Probably any organic at all, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a Morinth playthrough was kind of fun and interesting, though. She does have a lot of unique dialogue in comparison to Samara, and it's almost worth it to see her kind of develop a little bit, because if you take Morinth with you on the final suicide run, she kind of has a change of heart and she acts a little bit differently. Like, she becomes a part of the team. But the fact that she can still flip a switch and go on a murderous rampage, yeah, I'm not gonna go down that route again. Anybody else have thoughts on Morinth? All right.
I'm saying in the chat, I would hope she's not that evil, to do that to a child or a kid or a teen. Well, teens in trouble. Don't leave your teenagers with Morinth.
I could see her not being that evil to, intentionally hurt a child, but I could also see her being the, ooh, shiny, or I'm going to get distracted, or I'm just going to be neglectful. Like, I'm sorry, whatever you're doing over there is not of my interest, or I have to feed you that's disgusting, and I'm not going to do it. I could see that being the why I wouldn't leave her. And there's no way in hell she's changing a diaper. So. All right. Who's up next? Who has an idea?
I would say Conrad Werner.
Conrad? Why wouldn't you leave a baby with Conrad?
I mean, as much as we all love Conrad, just because by default you have to love Conrad, because by the end of the trilogy, he's an okay guy. Somewhere along the line, I remember him explicitly telling you that he left his family so that he could gallivant around the universe pretending to be you. And I just think if you're going to put super fandom over your family, probably not somebody I want watching or influencing my child.
He was lying, though. He doesn't have a wife or children. The only family he has is a sister who went away to Andromeda.
Do I misremember that?
Yeah, he was totally lying about having a wife.
Also, a fun fact about that, too. For some reason, I don't know how it keeps happening. There's only been 2 playthroughs out of 1 billion that I've had Conrad in Mass Effect 3, and I cannot for the life of me figure out where I'm messing that up. So if my Conrad lore is off, I take full responsibility for that.
Yeah, we can totally go through a walkthrough on how to keep Conrad alive in the Discord. Because I lost Conrad once, but never again after that. So I think Conrad would be okay to leave the baby with. Unless it was another case of like neglect because he forgot he was supposed to be doing something important. I could see that. I could totally see that. Anybody else have thoughts on Conrad? No? Okay, we're good. Who wants to go next? Scott?
Yeah, mine is actually a tie. I had a really hard time picking between the two that I think would be the worst. And so if I could put 2 out there, it's Dr. Gavin Archer and also Henry Lawson, I think would be the 2 worst people to leave anybody with, like, but especially a child, because we've seen how horrible they are to their own family. So why would I trust them with any other children at all?
Yeah, okay. You just picked like the 2 worst people in the whole trilogy. So fair enough, man. Fair enough. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gavin Archer would be so horrible. Having somebody who's willing to do heinous experimentation on their brother would have no respect for boundaries with somebody who's not related to them. Yeah. Especially if like that maybe 10-year-old was a potential biotic or something like that. That'd be really bad. And again, I think out of those 2, I would leave my child with Henry. Like if it was an absolute gun to my head, I had to pick which 2 people I had to leave them to, I would leave him to Henry, because Henry's not going to care. That child's not related to him in any way, shape, or form. Therefore, he can't get anything out of this. So therefore, that baby is safe. But that's saying a lot of really bad.
I was almost willing to take it the other way and say that if somebody's a 10 out of 10 bad in that situation, it's probably Lawson. I'll give Archer 9.95 out of 10 for bad, because the one conversation you have with him when you run into him again at the Cerberus base that you're liberating, he does at least seem remorseful, and he talks about how hard of a time he had coming out of that. If you take the Paragon route in that scenario, he seems like he's remorseful, whereas in the same game you run into Lawson during that whole family reunion situation they got going on, and he does not seem like he cares about anything that he has done and doesn't feel bad about it at all, and would continue to do it if it wasn't for the impending, death that was coming his way, if that's what you so choose.
That's fair, and that's very, very valid. The conversation that you can have with Archer in 3 does kind of change it, but for me, I've only had that conversation a couple of times because a majority of my playthroughs were through Game Pass and I didn't have all the DLCs. So all I knew about this dude was that he did horrible things to his brother and he doesn't have a redemption story to him at all, because if you don't play the DLC, he tells you basically nothing. Yeah, I did some horrible experimentation while working for Cerberus. And then if you do the DLC, it can end in a self-unaliving. Like, that's like how bad it can get. So, yeah, I didn't really think about that. Anybody else got thoughts on these two?
I just think it'd be funny to say that you sacrificed your own child for like 5 readiness points.
Gotta get that perfect ending, right?
I'd rather get all the matriarch insignias and get Conrad's 5 points. Like give me those that way. I will.
For some of us, Conrad's 5 points is tough to come by. Okay, so don't judge.
I think this totally tangent here for a second, but the stupidest 5-point gain that you can get is the Kelly Fish one. And I have never personally done it. I have only read about Kelly's fishy 5 points, and no, I'm not spending a whole playthrough, 2 playthroughs to get those 5 points. Thank you very much. No. Okay. Magister, who you got? Who you not leaving the baby with?
Well, Scott technically cut me a little bit there because I was going to go for Henry Lawson, but I feel that, like I said, he is see what he does with his own children. I would never leave my kid or have him babysit anything. So to go with a more fun route, but very irresponsible route, I would never have Kasumi be a babysitter, because while she would probably play the best hide and seek game and everything else with her kid, she would teach them so many bad habits. You would pick your kid up afterward, and then Charlie, where you at? Charlie, where are you? Charlie, where you at? Or I could have sworn I left my keys here. She would be such a horrible influence on your kid from then on out. So yeah, I think you would pick them up and your kid would be like, oh yeah, I had a blast on Kasumi, but afterward you would instantly regret it.
Yeah, I could see that. I just pictured Kasumi putting the tactical cloak on the baby, and now she can't find the baby. That's not good. That's not good. And probably learning how to pickpocket. I could definitely Kasumi trying to teach a 7-year-old how to pickpocket.
Everybody's got that one fun aunt or fun uncle, right? That's just the bad influence, but they're lovable anyway.
Yeah. Kasumi might not know where that boundary between fun, lovable, quirky, and teaching my child how to commit crimes. Yeah.
She's too much of a troll to know where that line is at. She'll just be like, oh, I'm doing it for the lulz, but no, you shouldn't teach a kid that. Kasumi, don't do that.
Anybody else got thoughts on Kasumi? No? All right. For me, I think I'm going to take a little bit of cop out here and say that I would not trust my child with Tim. The elusive man can stay away from any child of mine. I believe that would be raised in a den of evil, and the freaky eyes would probably make babies cry, and it would just get into way too much trouble, especially if this child means nothing to the elusive man. He's not going to do anything to try and protect, save, or nurture in any way, shape, or form. I also did think of like some of the other bad evil guys. Like, I wouldn't trust my baby with Saren, but you know, I wouldn't trust my baby with Sovereign. You know, trust my baby to a
What
Reaper.
about Bray?
Huh?
What about Bray?
Bray.
The Batarian?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. There are a lot of bad guys that I would not trust the baby with, but the elusive man was the first one to come to my mind, especially being like, oh yeah, sure, in this vast universe of alien races and everything like that, who's a human that I wouldn't trust around my own little human? And the elusive man came to mind.
Yeah, you'll have a dinner, have dinner with your child, and all of a sudden they'll start spouting some problematic things about the rest of the galaxy. Be like, yo, where'd you hear that from?
Him would totally be the one to try and indoctrinate the child into problematic thought processes. Yeah, so let's just avoid that altogether. Okay. Anybody else have thoughts? No? Okay. Amazing. Guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me tonight. And N7 the Legend, we hope to see you here back next week, but you do have your own little one to take care of. But according to us, Eve, Edie, Kaidan, Mordin, and Samara might be good people to tap if you ever need a babysitter. Also, Auntie Jennasis is also available. And we will go around the room and shout out anything that you want to plug, and where people can reach out if they want to nerd out with you about Mass Effect. Retrobot, what you got going on?
I'm just Retrobot in the Discord if you want to reach out and talk about it, or I'm pretty busy with work right now, but in a couple months that's going to line up, so I'm probably going to get into playing Monster Hunter at that time. So if anyone wants to join me for that.
I have heard a lot of good things.
Yeah.
A lot of good things about Monster Hunter recently, so hopefully you are able to get in there and play and form up some groups and teams. Hit them up on the Discord. All right, Yukon, thank you so much for joining in on your first show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I just recently finished. I'm a bit of a completionist, so I just finished every episode of the podcast. Took me about a year to get through it, and then I finally reached this point where I was caught up with everybody and with everything that was going on. So I figured now would be the perfect time to join, because I actually am caught up on everything that's going on. I appreciate you guys all being here, and yeah, you can just catch me, Yukon Cornelius, bopping around in the Discord every once in a while. I'm already making a trend out of making memes out of Sam, so I'll probably just keep doing that.
Oh, yes. Full permission to troll my co-host. That's kind of how our friendship started. I made him into a Conrad Werner meme, and it started from there. That is the old lore. So that was amazing. Thank you so much for the laughs on that one. Scott, what you got?
Just busy working and parenting, so that pretty much takes up most of my time. And you can hit me up on the Discord. I'm floating around every so often, but usually I just end up lurking, unfortunately.
Parenting definitely takes up a lot of the time, so therefore we lurk. Magister, what you got?
I am also a fellow lurker, but I am in the Discord as well. So anyone ever hit me up, feel free to. Currently into the not Crusader Kings, Kingdom Deliverance 2. I always get mixed up on those two games. But having a great time, feeling quite hungry with Henry. So.
Ooh, all right. Let's see. For me, you can also reach me on the Discord, and on my other show, the Two Girls, One Ship podcast, where we analyze, rate, and review all that the world of video game romances has to offer, and on the Cyberpunk Lorecast, where we explore the foundations of the past, the state of Night City today, and the news of the future for all things cyberpunk. You can also catch this show being recorded live each week at twitch.tv/Mass Effect Lorecast. You can also catch me on Blue Sky and in the Discords as well. And on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up here for tonight. And we will see you next week. Bye. Whew, all right. Amazing, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, like how I talked about before the show started, that there's always that little piece of anxiety right before the show starts. And I haven't ran a solo show in a minute. So I was like, I got to remember that there's not a second person who can pick up the conversation and keep it going. So it's just like, okay, all right, I got this. But thank you, chat, for hanging out with us. We might be streaming again later this week. I'm not quite sure. To reach affiliate status on Twitch, you have to stream like 7 times in a 30-day period. And since we only record the podcast once a week, we will never hit that goal. But if we pick up a few side missions and make it work so that way we do a couple extra streams throughout the month, then we can hit that affiliate status and go from there. So I think I'm going to end the stream here now, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out in chat. I saw you, Infantry Slim, Superfly 440, Alan Unpronounceable. You were always here. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.